If you're wondering why your foundation separates on your skin, whether it be your nose or anywhere else on your face, stay tuned because I'm about to show you various different tips that you can use to stop your makeup from separating. I get a lot of questions from people about foundation separating on the skin, concealer separating on the skin, and usually that is down to certain products that you're using not being compatible with one another. It could be that you're using a water-based skincare product and then a silicone-based makeup product, and the two don't necessarily go together. Now, I will tell you this, you can actually use them together, but sometimes it depends on your skin type. So a good example for this is when you have one fragrance, you apply it on one person and it smells a certain way, and then you apply it on a different person and it smells different, and that's usually down to the warmth of the skin, the oil production in the skin. It's a similar kind of thing when it comes to mixing different ingredients together, so like water-based and silicone-based, oil-based products together. It can be okay on some people. Most of the time I find it's okay on me, but on some people it doesn't actually sit well together, and it can end up separating on the skin and causing that horrible lifted look. You know, when it just looks like you've worn your foundation for 5 days straight, it's lifting, it's cracking, it just doesn't look like it's meant to really be there. That's usually what happens when certain ingredients are not compatible with one another. So I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can actually sort that out and show you an exact kind of water-based routine that I have that I want to show you, so that you also know which products are water-based and how well they actually like sit on the skin and how they don't separate on the skin. The easiest way for you guys to actually figure this out, whether products are water-based or silicone-based, oil-based, is to just check the ingredients. And if you don't have the time for that, you don't want to sift through all these different names, that sometimes they can be a bit difficult to see, like, okay, what am I looking for? Like, there's such random kind of long names, you know, of ingredients you've probably never heard of before. It can be difficult. The easiest way to tell is to just go onto the website, Google the product. Firstly, Google it, is this so-and-so product water-based or silicone-based? And that should hopefully be able to tell you. Or you can go onto the actual website and just check the full ingredients. It's much easier than trying to look at a product close up when it's so small. Basically, what you want to do is stick to one or the other. So stick to either water-based products, or if you prefer using silicone-based products or like oil-based products, then stick to all of those. That way you're avoiding those ingredients mixing together and not being able to sit well on your skin. That goes for everything: your skincare, your primer, your makeup, what you're setting your makeup with. So everything you are applying on your face when it comes to completing your base needs to be either one or the other, water-based or silicone-based, oil-based. So you need to make that decision, like which one do you want to go for. Most of the time people want to go for water-based products. It doesn't mean, by the way, that water-based products are just automatically going to just come off and they're not going to stay long. I used to have this kind of like feeling about that too, but there are so many new kind of ways that brands are kind of incorporating other ingredients that are clean, that help to actually keep the makeup on longer. So don't fall into that whole trap of thinking that water-based products just run off the face. They don't. So another thing that it could be, if it's not the mixing of products, so say for example you're using all water-based products or you're using all oil-based, silicone-based products, and you still get that separating, it could be down to the oil production in your skin. So what I would suggest is using a toner, which is an astringent, so something to really help kind of like mattify your skin before you apply the rest of your skincare products, because that is going to be like, it's going to work wonders on your skin for kind of helping keep that excess oil at bay. So it will help to really kind of mattify your skin before you apply the rest of your skincare and your makeup. As I'm putting on all my skincare, I'm going to give you a couple of more tips, because it could be other things that are causing your makeup to kind of like separate. Now, firstly, I'm going to use my Rhode Glazing Milk, and this is a clean product, water-based obviously, and I am going to apply this all over. So the full range I'm going to be using is water-based, and I want to really just kind of press this into the skin. There you go. Let that sink in. And then I'm going to move on to my Rhode Peptide Glazing Fluid. This is adding like great hydration. I can't seem to open this one. It's adding great hydration to my skin. So I'm just going to do one pump of that. I'm just going to smooth this over and let this sink in. If you feel like you're getting value from this video, then please do hit the thumbs up button, because it's really going to help my channel out. If you want to see more videos like this, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also that bell button so that you're notified every time a new video drops. I am on all of the social media platforms listed below, and links to these can be found in my description box below, along with some amazing discount codes from some of my favorite beauty brands. Thanks so much for your support. Now let's get back to this video. That toner that I was talking about, what that helps to do is it helps to eliminate any excess oil before you move on to the next step. So any oil that has obviously come through, it just gets rid of it before you move on to like your moisturizer and everything else. Now, lastly, I'm going to do my Road Barrier Restore Cream. You will find that with water-based products, you're going to get way more hydration than kind of like silicone-based products. I'm just kind of like going around my eyes as well because I actually forgot to bring my eye cream, and sometimes what happens is I use my moisturizer instead, which is all good. You can do that, but on a regular basis, I'd recommend an eye cream. Okay, so now that we've done that, the next step would usually be primer. Now, the first tip is, based on this whole routine I'm showing you, is that you've got to leave enough time between each product application. So leave at least like 15 to 30 seconds for that product to sink into your skin before you move on to the next step, which is what I've been doing. So next you could use your primer, and my water-based primer is my Milk Hydro Grip Primer. This is an amazing primer which is clean and really grips hold of the makeup, and obviously still helps to keep your skin hydrated, which is great. So you don't feel that horrible drying kind of feel or tightening feel to your skin. If you didn't want to use a primer and you wanted to use something that you feel like helps to really keep your makeup in place a bit longer, like say for example you use this entire water-based collection routine and you feel like it's great, it hydrates my skin, it feels good on the skin, I'm not breaking out or anything, but the problem is my makeup just doesn't last as long, then what I would suggest is instead of your primer, use a powder as your primer. So this is where you dust on some powder and then carry on with the rest of your face. I don't have you guys live here because I would love to ask you, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to use a primer? Do you want me to use a powder? I feel like I use primer in most of my videos, so I'm gonna go ahead and just use the powder and guess that that's what you guys want. So I'm gonna be using my clean setting powder, which is the Hourglass Veil Setting Powder, and I am basically just going to dust some of this over my face, and this is really going to mattify my face even more. So all I'm doing, I've got my Hourglass Veil brush, and I am literally just going to dust this over the skin. And this is your alternative way to prime your skin if you struggle with makeup staying on using water-based products. This is a great way to just prime your skin for foundation. Okay, next up, I have got my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in Barcelona, and this is a water-based product. And I've got some on the back of my hand, and I'm just gonna literally brush this over the skin. You can use a sponge if you want to, but honestly, I don't know what it is about NARS products that I just love applying them with brushes. And see how easily this actually applies on top of that powder? Like the powder doesn't distort the application of the foundation. In fact, it actually helps it to apply like much smoother over the skin. I'm very tanned at the moment, so clearly you can see I need some bronzer, which we will apply. Next up, we're going to use my concealer, which is again a water-based concealer, which is the Hourglass Vanish Concealer. And the shade that I'm using at the moment is Dune, because I am a bit more tanned at the moment. So this is where we're just going to apply a little over the eyelids. I'm just going to use a sponge for this. I'm just going to buff this in, just getting some of that powder and setting it. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next stage, which is just covering the under eye circles and just lifting a little bit. I like to do this here as well. Now, I just want to quickly explain that I am well aware that a lot of the separating usually happens on the nose area. Now, another tip that I want to give you in terms of like water-based or silicone oil-based, is that you need to ensure that you don't apply too much around the nose area. This is one thing I see a lot of people do. They apply way too much makeup around the nose area and on the nose area. You don't actually need that much around the nose. You don't actually need a lot on the nose at all. You need to have less on the nose than anywhere else. Unless you are dealing with like acne and real severe scarring on the nose, I don't see why you would actually need to apply so much foundation or even concealer on the nose. You don't even need to apply concealer. If you really want to like contour your nose, you know, fine, do that, but I wouldn't apply excess foundation or excess concealer for no reason on the nose. So I've applied the smallest amount. It's literally a veil of color. Like when I brushed on the foundation, I don't need to apply any concealer there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of like smooth this concealer out. I'm going to get my sponge, just do this little bit here first. And then let's cover these circles. There, I'm not even spreading that onto the nose area because it really doesn't need to go there. It's just such an unnecessary part of the face to apply so much makeup on. And that in itself might be the solution to your problem. There you go. So now that we've got the foundation and concealer everywhere, I'm gonna go ahead and set this. And as I said, I'm gonna use my Hourglass setting powder. Now with this Hourglass setting powder, I don't like really pressing it onto the skin. The only place I actually do that is on the eyelids. But when it comes to the under eye area, I don't feel like it actually helps to set the area well, and it can end up creasing later and just not really sitting well. So I always prefer dusting it on with a bit of, like with a brush. So I'm just gonna make sure that there are no creases on my under eye area. Just get rid of it. Then I'm gonna go into this powder and I'm just gonna press the powder in. And that is the best way to apply this powder to set your under eyes. And you'll also find that you won't get that like cakey finish on the under eyes as well. Now everywhere else, you can just dust it on lightly. I like to just go over the areas I feel that I need it. I don't necessarily go over the whole face. I mean, this might actually look like the whole face to you, but I'm gonna dust it over the nose. Honestly, with how much I've applied, you should not be getting any creases. You should not even be getting any kind of separating at all. By applying that powder primarily down the middle, you're also going to get that natural glow come through as well. So just an FYI there for you. I'm just going to do my brows and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so now that I've actually finished the rest of my face, you can see what the base looks like. I'm a little bit more bronzed up. Got some lipstick on, my brows are done, and I didn't put any mascara on just because I wasn't really feeling it. I wanted that kind of like bold lip, minimal eye makeup look. But anyway, it's not about that. What I really want to explain to you is that it's taken me a little while to obviously do my brows because I do spend a decent amount of time on my brows, and then put some lipstick on, do my bronzer and everything. And as you can see, my skin still looks intact. And even close up, it's not kind of like separating or anything. And I do know that with some of you, it happens a lot later in the day. But honestly, like I said, it doesn't really happen to me. But even with using one ingredient products, like not one ingredient products, but like one based product, like water-based products, or just sticking to just silicone products, if that's what you prefer, it is going to help you tremendously. But also don't forget those extra few tips, such as maybe using an astringent on your, like as a toner, on the areas that you tend to separate, like the makeup tends to separate, before you apply the rest of your skincare. So the toner is usually applied before any kind of like serum or any cream products. So apply that first, then carry on as normal, and that might actually help. Or you might want to ditch your normal primer that you use and actually use a powder as your primer, and that might be what needs to be done to be able to stop that kind of separating with the makeup. But as you can see, a lot of it is really down to what you're using and what you're mixing together, rather than your application method. So don't get too confused when people say, oh, apply it with this and it's going to be much better. It really is ultimately down to the ingredients that you're mixing together or your oil production in your skin. So hopefully this has cleared it up for you. Hopefully you are not going to have to deal with this makeup separating anymore. I would suggest trialing like the tips that I've said. So maybe try the one that you prefer first. So for example, if you don't really want to switch up your makeup products or your skincare and you don't want to have to go into the whole checking the ingredients, save that till last. Use that as a last resort. So first off, maybe use the toner or switch your primer for a powder. Maybe that's all you need to do. And those are easy things that you can do as well. But leave the kind of thorough checking of ingredients until last and see what suits you best. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope this has answered a lot of questions when it comes to your makeup separating on your skin and it solved the issue for you. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments box below. Don't forget that I do have an online publication called the Beauty Breakfast Club, which has so much stuff on there that you guys are gonna love. There are 3 newsletters a week consistently. No skipping, nothing. And it's based around health, beauty, like everything beauty related, so some real kind of like deep conversations happening there as well. And also if you do opt for the paid version of that, it gives you access to an extra newsletter a week and you get to sit in on a group with me where you can actually ask me questions. Sign up for that, show some support. I'd love to see you over there. And I also have a vlog channel on my other YouTube channel, which is NINAUBHI Vlogs. So check that out because it's a lot of behind the scenes and what I get up to when I'm not actually filming for makeup. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care and I'll see you soon.